Namo Namaha Bhaktam Sarvesham Hardam Swagatam. Welcome back to this channel Sanskrit Sopanam. I hope you're doing great. I'm also good. And in the last video under the playlist Introduction to Basic Sanskrit Grammar, we took the topic Maheshwar Sutrani. And in that video we saw Maheshwar Sutrani are 14 sutras, basically 14 sets of sounds that emanated from the Damru of Lord Shiva when he struck it 14 times after the completion of his divine dance. And what do these sutras represent? So they represent all the letters of Sanskrit language but very uniquely arranged. And this unique arrangement of these letters of Sanskrit is what enabled Rishi Panini to systematically present the entire grammar of Sanskrit in his phenomenal work Ashtadhyayi. Okay, so that is all what we saw in the last video. And within that same topic of Maheshwar Sutrani, we saw a technique that is extensively used by Rishi Panini in his entire work of Ashtadhyayi. That technique is called Pratyahara. What is Pratyahara? So basically it is a condensed abbreviation that represents a certain group of letters. So we saw what are Pratyaharas, we saw how we can create Pratyaharas of our own, and then we also took few examples of the very common Pratyaharas that we come across while learning grammar through Panini Ashtadhyayi. So that is all what we saw in the previous video. I hope all of you have gone through that video. If not, I will leave the link here. Please go through that video first, because we in this video and the follow-up videos we are going to take help of those concepts that we learned in the previous video. Okay, so please go through that also. In Sanskrit, when we read any text, so very soon we realized that Sanskrit has a lot of words. And when I say a lot of words, I basically mean infinite number of words. Because whenever we read any Sanskrit text, there is always so many new words that we are encountering maybe for the first time. So every time we read a new Sanskrit text, we have to take help of Sanskrit dictionary. So there are a lot of words in Sanskrit that is there. And almost all the words of Sanskrit are derived from dhatu. Okay. And if you refer to Ashtadhyayi, there are only around 2000 dhatus. Okay. So the question is, how from these 2000 dhatus we get so many different words in Sanskrit? And to answer this, we have these suffixes, these pratyaya, because these pratyaya are what? That modifies a dhatu and create new words, new different words. Okay. Now these suffixes are also plentiful in Sanskrit. And all these suffixes are categorized into few major categories. Okay, depending on what they modify. If a suffix attaches itself to a dhatu, it is categorized into some category. If it attaches itself to a pratipadika, it is categorized into some category. So based on these and based on the functioning of this pratyaya, there are few major categories. Among those categories also, the category of krit pratyaya. So krit suffixes, this is very important because almost all the words that you encounter in your Sanskrit literature, any Sanskrit literature that you read, or the majority of the words, they all come from these suffixes, these krit suffixes. And what are these krit suffixes? So they are the suffixes that modifies a dhatu to create a new pratipadika. Okay, so from a dhatu, you get a new pratipadika. And what creates this modification is these suffixes, krit suffixes. And so if you understand how a suffix work, then you can understand how a word is formed using this suffix. And once you understand that, then even though the word that you encounter may be a new word, but still you can guess the meaning. Still you can identify the word. Still you can identify the dhatu that is behind that word. So this identification of words will allow you to comprehend the meaning of Sanskrit verses, the meaning of Sanskrit literature without referring to Sanskrit dictionary for each new word that you encounter. Okay, so such is the importance of suffixes and such is the importance of understanding how the suffixes work. And this brings me to the final part of the introduction, that okay, but I am already familiar with lot of suffixes. Because in our series also, Learning Sanskrit through Bhagavad Gita, when we encounter any new Sanskrit verse, there is always some suffix that is there and we study it, we decode it. So a lot of suffixes we already are familiar with. So what is the point of these videos? So my intention of these videos and the follow-up videos is that even if you understand what does a particular suffix do, still if I give you a dhatu and I give you a suffix and I say that modify this dhatu using this suffix, then it will create a lot of confusion. Because we are not very sure how the suffix actually modifies a dhatu or it actually modifies a pratipadika. Because for example, I give you this pratyay, lyut pratyay. Lyut pratyay is what creates a bhavvachik sangya. Basically, it creates the action itself. So suppose I give you some dhatu, shru dhatu. Now shru dhatu means to hear. Very common dhatu. We have often seen this dhatu. We have actually often seen this pratyay also, lyut pratyay. So you have this shru dhatu, that means to hear. You have this lyut pratyay. And then I say that modify this dhatu using this pratyay. So how this pratyaya is going to modify that dhatu, that remains a question. But if you know how this lut pratyaya works, then you can immediately identify that shru plus lut, this will change into shravana. And shravana is what means hearing, right? Because this lut pratyaya does, it changes the dhatu into the action itself, the bhava. So shru dhatu plus lut becomes shravana. This pratipadika means hearing, the act of hearing. Okay. So that you can only do if you understand how this lut pratyaya works. So let us take another example. You have this kri dhatu. Kri dhatu means to do. Okay. And if I modify this dhatu using nyat pratyaya, Nyat pratyay. What does nyat pratyay do? So nyat pratyay changes the dhatu into the meaning the action should be done. Okay, so it creates a new pratipadika, that means that action should be done. So if I modify this kri dhatu using nyat pratyay, so what should be that resultant pratipadika? That is the confusion. But again, if you know how this nyat pratyay actually works, then you can very easily modify this kri dhatu using this nyat pratyay, and the resultant pratipadika will be karya. And this karya is a very common word we generally use in different regional languages also. What is karya? The work that should be done. Basically, that work, that duty. So that is that word karya. Okay, similarly, if we take this dhatu vid dhatu, if I modify this vid dhatu using nyat pratyay, so what should be the pratipadika? So the pratipadika will be vedya. Ved dhatu means to know. So vedya, this will mean something that should be known. Okay. So this all is only possible if you understand how these suffixes, how these pratyaya, they actually work, how they actually modify their given prakriti. Okay, so that is the point of this video. And besides this, if you understand the proper functioning of a suffix, then it also clears a lot of doubts that we may already have. Because you know this pratyaya, right? Twa pratyaya. Twa pratyaya is something that we frequently see in our Bhagavad Gita verses. Twa pratyaya is used in the sense after doing that action. Okay. So if I modify this pat dhatu using twa pratyaya, so the resultant pratipadika is patitva. Patitva means after studying. Okay, so we know this. Pat dhatu, twa pratyaya, the resultant pratipadika is patitva. Now if I take this dhatu, pach dhatu, and if I modify this dhatu using the same pratyaya, twa pratyaya, now the resultant pratipadika is not pachitva, no, it is paktva. So you see this difference. This difference is what creates a lot of confusion. That okay, pat is changing into patitva, but why does not pach is changing into pachitva? Why it is becoming paktva? So all these questions, all these doubts, all these can be answered. Even if not all, but at least the majority of these doubts, of these questions can be answered once we understand the proper functioning of these pratyas. And again, the topic may seem very technical, it may seem very intimidating, but trust me, it is not. Once you get the hang of these logics, then almost all the pratyas and everything, you just have to follow certain rules associated with them. But once that logic is in place, everything becomes very clear, very smooth. So it may look intimidating at first, but trust me, it is not. So that is the intention of these videos and the follow-up videos. And we are going, as I said, we are going to start with this category of suffixes, krit suffix. Okay, so that was all the introduction. I hope you got the premise of these videos. But now, without wasting any more time, let's quickly dive into today's main content. Okay, so consider this the part 1 of krit suffix. And if I move forward, so I've already told you what this krit suffix actually means. So krit suffix is the category that changes a dhatu into a new pratipadika. Okay, dhatu as in English it is called as verbal root, and pratipadika as in English it is called nominal base. Okay. So to change a dhatu into a new pratipadika, you use this category of suffix called as krit suffix. And see, under this category of krit suffix, you will find a lot of suffixes. But we are only going to cover those pratyaya, those suffixes that are very commonly used, that are most commonly used in almost all the Sanskrit literature that we read. Okay, so we are going to take the most popular, most common ones. And through this video today, we are going to take these three suffixes. Trich suffix, null suffix and quip suffix. And the reason I'm taking these three suffixes together is because what they do is essentially same. And by this I mean that when these suffixes, they modify a verbal root to create a new pratipadika, to create a new base word, all of those base words represent one who does. Okay, so all of these pratipadika, they represent the doer of the action, one who does that action. Okay, so since these three suffixes, they all create a new pratipadika conveying the same kind of meaning. So we are clubbing them together, we are learning them together. So now we move forward and we are starting with the first suffix, trich suffix. Okay, and now see, for every suffix, what you can see are the 4 different columns. First is, what does it denote? That what is the use of this suffix actually? So what does it denote? And the next column we have it letters. And this is what we have seen generally with all the suffixes that we work. That suppose we have this suffix twa suffix. So we know that even though the name of the suffix is twa, but what actually attaches to the dhatu is only this portion, twa portion, only this much. Right? Same we have seen with other suffixes also. So suppose you have this suffix, lyap suffix. So even though this is the entire name of the suffix, but we know that only the ya, only this ya is what actually attaches itself to the dhatu. Okay, so every suffix have it letters. It letters is basically the indicatory letters. This is what we saw in the previous video of Maheshwar Sutrani, that there are certain letters which does not form the part of main content, but they are there to indicate something. So see, for every suffix that we encounter in Sanskrit, so you take this example of lyap suffix. So the different letters that are present in this suffix are this l, this y, this a and this p, right? So out of all the letters present in a suffix, there will be few letters which are just there to indicate something. Okay. So in our lyap suffix here, this l and this p, these are the it letters. These are just there to indicate something. And then the main letter is what remains. So in this, we have this ya that remains. So this ya is the main letter, main content of the suffix. Okay, and this is something that has to be understood for all the suffixes that we encounter in Sanskrit. Okay, so I hope these it letters, these main letters for any suffix, this is clear. And then the last column is required modifications. So these required modifications are what tells the actual mechanism of these suffixes. That what necessary changes should happen to the dhatu, what necessary changes should happen to the pratipadika with which these suffixes are attaching itself to. Okay, and here comes the importance of these it letters. Because these it letters are what indicate the required modifications. That just by knowing the it letters of any suffix, you will be able to understand the required modifications that that suffix will cause to the dhatu or pratipadika with whatever it is attaching itself to, right? So actually this is the first time we are encountering this format, so I am just explaining these four columns. What is the meaning of these four columns? And now let us see these details for this particular suffix, trich suffix. Okay, so what does it denote? So as I discussed before, that this denotes the agent of action. Okay, one who does, the doer. Okay, that the new pratipadika that will be formed from a dhatu using this trich suffix, that new pratipadika will represent the agent of action, one who does that action. And then we have this it letter. So in this trich suffix, the it letter is cha. That this cha is just there to indicate something. Maybe it is there to indicate something, maybe it is just there for intonation purpose also. But the point is that these it letters is not what forms the main content of the suffix. So we basically remove them from the actual content of the suffix. Okay. So cha is the it letter and the main letter is this tra. Okay. So this tra is what actually attaches, right? And now the last column, required modifications. So what I'm writing is guna of last ik and guna of penultimate short ik. Okay, so now let us analyze this statement, guna of last ik. Okay, so first of all, this ik is a pratyahara. So if you have gone through that previous video of Maheshwar Sutrani, you will immediately identify this ik as pratyahara. And what does this abbreviation represents? So it represents all the simple vowels except a and dirgha a. Okay, so e, u, ri, and li. So all these simple vowels are represented using this pratyahara ik. Okay, and last ik basically means that in the dhatu, if the dhatu is ending with any of these simple vowels, if a dhatu is ending with this ik, so the guna will happen. That is the statement. Now, what is guna? So in Sanskrit, you have these two technical terms, guna and vriddhi. Okay, so even though we know these terms through Sandhi, Guna Sandhi, Vriddhi Sandhi, but these are basically technical terms, Guna and Vriddhi. And this Guna and Vriddhi, they represent vowel gradation. Okay, so there is another technical term, vowel gradation. Don't worry about it, we'll just see what it is. See, if I think of these vowels as levels, so you have the level 0, where you have the simple vowels, right? So you have a, e, u, ri. So all these four are the simple vowels in their level 0. Then if I talk about level 1, so one grade up, level 1. So then these vowels are a, o, r. Okay, so you can see that a remains a, e, this changes into a, u, this changes into o, and ri, this changes into r. So this is the level 1. And this level 1 is what is called as guna. So if I say the guna of e, so the guna of e is basically the level up of that e, that is a. And the guna of u is level up of this u, that is o. So this is basically, so you can just actually remember these four vowels as guna, that a, o, r. These four vowels are called as guna. Okay. And now vriddhi is the level 2. So the level 2 is a, I, au, ar. So you see, all are changed. So a becomes a, dirgha a, e becomes I, u becomes au, and ri becomes r. So these level 2, this is called the vriddhi. So just remember these 4 vowels as the vriddhi. This is the technical term. So whenever I say that vriddhi of u, so vriddhi of u basically means the level 2, that is au. The u directly changes into au. The vriddhi of e is I. E changes into I. So this is the technical definition of what is guna, what is vriddhi, and what is essentially vowel gradation. This vowel gradation is not unique to Sanskrit. This happens in other languages also. So how it happens in Sanskrit, this is how it happens in Sanskrit. So you have 3 levels, level 0, level 1, level 2. Level 0, the simple vowels in their form, a, I, U, ri. Then you have level 1, a, o, r, that is guna. And then you have level 2, a, I, au, r, that is vriddhi, the level 2. Okay, so just remember this point. So now coming back to the required modifications, it is saying that the guna of last ik will happen. So if the dhatu we are modifying using this trich suffix, if that dhatu has ik as a last vowel, so the guna will happen of that vowel. And it is also saying that a guna of penultimate short ik will happen. So penultimate basically means the second last. So for example, in this dhatu, bhuj dhatu, this u, this is the second last, right? So the guna of penultimate and short ik. So this ik pratyahara represents I, u, and ri. Okay, it also represents li. We are not taking it because we don't encounter it in Sanskrit texts. Okay, but the rule is saying guna of penultimate short ik. So basically it is saying that only the short this. So short I, short u, short ri. The guna will happen only if these are short vowels. So here in this example, bhuj, this penultimate u, this is the short u, this is the riswa u. So the guna will happen. And you know now, the guna of u is o. Okay, so due to this tris suffix, this dhatu bhuj, this will see this modification, that instead of bhuj, it will become bhoj, because the penultimate u has become o. So these are the required modifications. But I hope that the meaning of this guna and the meaning of this last, this penultimate, that is the second last, and the meaning of this pratyaharas, everything is clear. And apart from this, we also have this third modification, that there is an optional it agama. And see, we will understand this it agama also. It is a very common practice, very common mechanism that happens with lot of different grammatical rules in Sanskrit. But first, let us see few examples of this tris suffix. Okay, so we'll come back to this optional it agama point, but first let us see few examples. So you see this pratipadika kartra. And kartra, this is a pratipadika that means one who does, or basically the doer. Because from this pratipadika only we get the word karta. Okay, so karta is just the prathama vibhakti ekvachanam of this pratipadika kartra. Okay, and now the question is this kartra. How did we get this pratipadika? How did we get this new word in Sanskrit? So see, we have this dhatu, kri dhatu. Kri dhatu means to do, and we are modifying this dhatu using this trich suffix. And then we know for this trich suffix, this cha, this is the it letter, so we remove it. And now we do the required modifications. So see, in our dhatu here, kri dhatu, you have ri as the last vowel, right? And ri, this belongs to this ik, right? So as per the required modification, the guna of this last ik will happen. So this ri, this will change into this ar. So this is the first modification that will happen. Then the guna of penultimate short ik. So again, this kri, this dhatu does not have any penultimate vowel. This only have one vowel that is in the last, that is this ri, and this ri, guna already happened, that became ar. Okay, and in the case of kri, this optional it agam, this does not happen. I will tell you what it is, but right now it does not happen, so we don't need to bother it. So basically now see what happens. Now we have this kar. Okay, so this ri changes into ar, we combine it, so kar, and we have this tri, kar tri, and this is what combines and creates a new word. Okay, and this new pratipadika is one who does, is the doer. This pratipadika represents this meaning. Okay, I hope this is clear. But again, we are going to take few more examples so that this entire thing is clear. So now you have this pratipadika nyatra. And nyatra means one who knows, the knower. And from this pratipadika only, again, in the prathama vibhakti ekvachanam, we get this form nyata. So to create this pratipadika, we have this root nya dhatu. Nya dhatu means to know. Okay, and this dhatu is to be modified using trich suffix. So in our dhatu here, the last vowel is a dirgha a. And this dirgha a, this does not belongs to this ik. Okay, because ik are all the simple vowels except a and a. So since the dhatu does not have the last ik, so this guna will not happen. then the dhatu also does not have any penultimate vowel. So this also will not happen. And then I am telling you that this optional it agam will not happen with this dhatu. So since no modification is happening, so this nya, this remains this nya. And then for this trich, we know that cha, this is the it letter, we remove this. So we have this 3 and we just simply now combine it because no further modification is possible. So we get this new pratipadika nyatra. Nyatra again means one who knows the knower. Okay, so as simple as that. Now let us take another example. We have this word shrotra. And shrotra, this means one who hears, the hearer. Again, from this pratipadika only, we get this form shrota. Again, the prathama vibhakti ekvachanam form shrota. Again, a very common Hindi word also. Shrota means one who hears, the hearer. So see, to get this pratipadika, we are again starting with a dhatu. And we know shru dhatu is to hear. We know this dhatu. So we are modifying shru dhatu using trich pratyay. Now let us see the modifications. Guna of last ik. So the last vowel is u. And we know that the guna of u is o. Right? So this shru, this will change into shro because the guna of last ik happens. Then guna of penultimate short ik does not happen because the dhatu does not have any penultimate vowel, and this optional it agam, this also will not happen. So basically the only modification that happened with this dhatu shru dhatu is it became this shro. And now this shro will combine with this 3. So we have the word shrotra, one who hears, the hearer. So I hope by this examples you are getting the hang of it. Okay, that even though the rules are there and at first you won't remember those rules, but if you understand the logic, then see how easy it is to create a new pratipadika from any dhatu using any suffix. So that logic has to be understood. Okay, and now let us take a bit difficult example. So we have this pratipadika bhoktra, and bhoktra is one who experiences, experiencer. So bhoktra is also one who consumes or consumer. And from this bhoktra only we get this shabdrupa bhokta, the prathama vibhakti ekvachanam form, bhokta. And to create this pratipadika, we know we have this dhatu, bhuj dhatu. Bhuj dhatu means to experience or to consume. So we are starting with this bhuj dhatu and we are modifying this using trich suffix. And you see this dhatu, you see there is no last vowel. So this point is invalid. There is no last vowel, it is ending with a consonant. But this dhatu has an penultimate vowel. Okay, the second last is a vowel. And that is this risva u. Okay, so gun of penultimate short ik. So since this u belongs to this short ik, so the guna will happen. So this u will become o. So this bhuj, this modifies into this bhoj. Okay, so you have bhoj plus 3. And now pay attention that between this bhoj and 3, there is a sandhi possibility. There is a sandhi that is called as kutva sandhi. That is represented by this sutra chohokuhu. So a kutva sandhi is possible between bhoj and 3, due to which this bhoj, this will change into bhog. Okay, so basically this ja of bhoj, this will change into this ga. Okay, so that is the sandhi, kutva sandhi. And what is the entire sandhi rule? So again, in all the PDF sheets that I attach with the Bhagavad Gita series, you have that sandhi rule also. So that you can refer to that. The sandhi is kutva sandhi, chohokuhu is the Ashtadhyayi sutra for it. But anyways, due to that sandhi between this bhoj and tr, this bhoj, this will change into bhog. And then there is another sandhi that is going to happen here. That is called as chartu sandhi, which is represented by the sutra kharicha. So that another sandhi will happen here, bhog plus tra, due to which this bhog, this also will change into this bhog. Okay, that instead of this ga, this gakara, you are getting this ka, this kakara. Okay, so pay attention that we started with this bhuj dhatu. Due to the required modifications of this suffix, that bhuj changes into bhoj. And then bhoj plus tra. So there is a possibility of sandhi. And that sandhi is kutva sandhi, due to which this bhoj changes into bhog. So bhog plus tra. And again there is a possibility of another sandhi, that is charto sandhi, due to which that bhog also becomes bhog. So finally we get this bhog plus tra. And with this bhog plus tra, we get the pratipadika bhogtra. Okay, we ultimately get this pratipadika bhogtra. And bhogtra is the word that means one who experiences or one who consumes, the experiencer or the consumer. Okay, so that is the entire backhand working of bhuj plus trich pratyay. So okay, even though there are again multiple steps, but see, the point is you have to understand the logic, because all the sandhi rules, again we are studying them separately, right? In all the Sanskrit texts we use these sandhi rules. So we are studying sandhi rules also. We are studying what is a guna, what is a vriddhi also. So why not combine all these things? Because this is all is happening in these modifications, in these changes. So just understand the logic of it. Don't try to memorize these steps. The more we use it, all these steps again, they register in our mind. So just try to get the logic behind these things. So I hope the derivation of this bhoktra from bhuj dhatu using trit suffix, this is also clear. And now let us take one last example, savitra. And savitra, this means one who inspires or one who enlivens. And in fact, this savitra, this is one name of the Adityas. This is the main deity of our Gayatri mantra, Savitur Varenyam. So this Savitra is one of the name of those Adityas. And why we have given this name? Because as a sun god, we know that sun is something that enlivens everything on this planet. Okay, that is the source of our liveliness, of our plants, of our crops, of everything, of life in fact. So, and it also inspires, because in the Gayatri mantra itself we say Dhiyo Yonaha Prachodayat. May you inspire, may you propel our intellect. So because he is the one who inspires. So see, this Pratipadika is coming from Sudhatu. Sudhatu means again to inspire or to give birth or to enliven, to produce in that sense. So we are using this Sudhatu and we are modifying using trit suffix since there is a U. So we have already seen that this U will change into O because the guna of last ek will happen. So this Su will change into So. So you have this So plus 3. Now there is this third step that will happen, optional it agam. Because this particular dhatu, su dhatu, this is a certain kind of dhatu which demands this it agama. And see, this it agama is nothing but between this dhatu and between this pratyay, you have this e. So this is what is the meaning of this it agama. Simple as that. So the equation is so plus e plus 3. And now a sandhi will happen between these two words. And what is that sandhi? So it is the ayadi sandhi, yanta vanta desha sandhi. That if after an O you have any other swara, so this O, this changes into this of. Okay, so that is the sandhi, ayadi sandhi. So due to this sandhi, this so, this will change into this sav. Okay, and then you have the same words, sav plus e plus tra. And if you combine them, so this is the pratipadika you get, savitra. Okay, savitra, this is what you get here. So with this we understand that when we are combining dhatu and pratyay, so if sandhi is there, if sandhi is possible, then that sandhi will happen. And then we also understood that for some dhatus, there is this it agama, that in between dhatu and pratyay, you will get this additional e. As we saw in this case, that between this so and tra, you got this e, it agama. And if you are wondering how come this it agama happened with this dhatu only, see, there are certain rules that guide this it agama. I don't want to give those rules in this particular video because in this particular video, we are basically already have a lot of rules. So there's already a lot of things you have to wrap up your mind around it. So it agama, just leave it for now. In the coming videos, I will take this topic of it agama also. There are only 2 or 3 rules that are important. And by that, you will understand when the it agama will come or will not come. Right now, just leave it as that. In the future video, I will discuss it. Okay. But anyways, I hope this is clear. But with this, we complete this trit suffix. These many examples are enough to understand how these required modifications actually operate on a dhatu. So, okay, this is clear. See, with all the introduction and with the first time explanation of these terms like what is guna, what is vriddhi, vowel gradation and all these things, this video has already reached a certain length. I plan to cover those 2 other suffixes, nuval suffix and quip suffix in this same video, but let me break this video here and I will take those in the next video. Okay. But having said this, I will suggest that you replay this video if you have any doubt. The first time you may be hearing some key concepts here, so go through them again. But once you understand the hang of it, once you get the hang of it, the logic of it, then all the krit pratyaya, all the tadita pratyaya, everything will start to make more sense. Okay. And these modifications also, maybe with each suffix you will find different modifications. But these differences in modifications also is just limited to 2 or 3 types of differences only. So a certain group of suffixes will take this one type of modification. A certain group of suffixes will take this another type of modification. So it's not much. Maybe for the first time it may be intimidating, but trust me, go slow, take it easy, try to understand the logic of it. Try not to memorize the rules. They come later, they automatically come. Get the logic of it, how a dhatu is modified using any suffix. Because once you understand this, a lot of new words will start to make sense to you even without concerning any Sanskrit dictionary. So that is a great power to have, to understand any language, to read the plethora of the text it has. Okay, so take it slow, take it easy. I'll meet you in another video with another set of suffixes. Until then, stay awesome, stay happy, keep learning Sanskrit. Vayam punah milamaha. Dhanyavad.